Welcome to One Tired Teacher, episode 48, How to Avoid Behavior Problems with a Choice Opener. So what do I mean by a choice opener? That's what we're going to talk about today. It's kind of a soft start to the day, allowing kids to actually come into the room with a few expectations in mind, such as like putting their backpack away or grabbing their pencil, or, going to the bathroom, those kinds of things. And then they jump immediately into some type of choice. So you're doing a transition into your day. I think this is such a powerful way to head off future behavior issues. It allows those kids that struggle with the intensity of school in the beginning of the day to actually come in to something that they want to do and they don't feel a lot of pressure. I really think this could be such a game changer in so many classrooms. So we're wrapping up our behavior series, and there's so much more to talk about on this subject, but I thought we'd take a little bit of a break for a while and we would talk about some other exciting things that are going on in the fall. But this topic is really special, and I have the best guest to talk about it. It's a second grade teacher that I found in a Facebook group, and she talks about how she uses this soft opener, this transition into the day type of philosophy, and what that does in her classroom. I hope you stick around.
Welcome to One Tired Teacher. And even though she may need a nap, this teacher is ready to wake up and speak her truth about the trials and treasures of teaching. Here she is, wide awake. Wait, she's not asleep right now, is she? She is awake, right? Okay. From Trina Devery Teaching and Learning, your host, Trina Devery.
Hey, so today we're going to be talking about smooth openers, smooth transitions, soft starts, whatever term you want to use, where we talk a lot about offering kids some choice when they come in the door. And like I said in the intro, I really think that this can be a game changer. And not only for those kids that have like a hard time feeling the intensity of school, but even those kids that are coming from families or homes or situations where it's not the happiest place to be, and they kind of need a little bit of a transition from into the school day and the expectations that are in the classroom. I just really think that this could be like a really incredible experience for kids and for teachers. And I think it's definitely worth a listen. So we have Alyssa Young. She's from New Jersey. She's a second grade teacher. And this is like one of my very favorite episodes and interviews, because I felt like I was on fire listening to her. Like, it was just really exciting for me to hear that these kinds of things are going on in schools. And I love to hear that teachers are becoming part of a solution to what I feel like can be a problem. And sometimes I worry that, with all the behavior problems that we see and all the issues that we have, and I know this is going to be hard to hear, but I sometimes feel like we as a school system are part of that problem. The expectations that we have on kids, the amount of testing we have on kids, how teachers feel stressed and pressured for VAM scores and evaluations, and the list goes on. And that trickles down to children. And I really think that we're seeing a lot of these like explosive behavior types as part of, obviously we've got a lot going on in society, and, people blame parenting, people blame video games, but I think it's also the school system. I think that some of the expectations that we have are really just sending kids right off the edge. And I think that it's really important for us to recognize that and to do all the things that we can to prevent that from happening. And this strategy is such a perfect strategy to like combat against some of the things that we are doing that are making this harder for kids. And I really think that this is a powerful strategy. So I'm currently, let me just tell you this before I get started. I'm currently working on a behavior workshop, and I'm getting all the pieces together and deciding exactly how I want it to be, because I want it to be very informative and very like, take this and go and run with it. Like, take a strategy, try it out, see if it works for you. And if that doesn't, here's another strategy, because I know that we're having behavior issues across the country, and we are just seeing more and more of these issues. And I know teachers are needing some solutions. I felt like that in my own classroom. I have had a different perspective in the last several years, and I've learned a ton. And I would like to offer that to other people so that you can feel like you are the manager and you're in control of your own classroom, because it's vital that you are, so that you are not giving your power to someone else, and you are really, most importantly, building relationships with your kids. And then what do you do if something breaks down? So I'm going to be doing that workshop, and I'm working on it currently. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love for you to tell me what is causing you the most struggle. Is it the child that refuses to work? Is it the child that blurts out constantly? Is it the kid that is aggressive towards others? Like, what is your biggest struggle? How are you dealing with it? What more information would you like to know? Because I really want to make sure that this workshop is tailored to exactly what you need in your room, because I get it. It's hard. It's really hard to deal with. I get to deal with kids basically one-on-one. So I've learned a lot from that experience, but I was in the classroom for 17 years, and I know what it feels like to work with kids when you've got 19 other kids that you're also dealing with. So lay it on me, give it to me. I want to hear it. You can share it in the comments. You can send me an email at Trina Debery, or actually T Debery at trinadeberyteachingandlearning.com. I'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and write me. You can direct message me on Facebook. I'm at Trina Debery Teaching and Learning on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram at tdebery_TL, which is for teaching and learning. And I am not great on Instagram, but I'm trying, because I really want this to be something that you can find value in. So we hop into the interview right where Alyssa and I are talking, and I do get to the official introduction along the way, but I wanted to leave this part in because it's sometimes you don't get to hear what the conversation that I have before we're actually officially on the air, and sometimes I think that there's some value in that as well. So I left a little part of it in, and then we'll get to officially meeting Alyssa Young from New Jersey. All right, let's get to it. I'm so excited to talk about this, actually.
Yeah.
I've really been wanting to know someone that's done it, because I taught second grade forever, and I left the classroom I don't know, it's been 5 years, because then I was a student support specialist, and I was a media specialist, and then I took almost 2 years off, and then now I'm back as a student support specialist. And I'm oh, I wish I had that was not really a thing when I was teaching,
Right.
but I'm I really wish I had tried that, because I think would have made such a difference with my kids that came in. So that's what I want to talk about. And have you been teaching for a long time?
This is my 4th year.
4th year?
Yeah.
So you're in the the best
I'm in the
time
sweet spot, yeah.
Yes.
New enough, and
Yeah.
I know enough, but
oh, I loved that time. That was when I loved teaching. It was just
right.
I loved teaching for a long time. I still love being with kids. It's just that everything got so crazy, and the testing and all those kind of expectations really stressed me out. So
luckily second grade, there's no testing, so
good. Yeah, we did the Stanford 10 for a long time, and then we did this iReady stuff that's how they used to evaluate us, and it was
yeah, our testing here starts in 3rd grade, so 3rd and 4th grade have that as part of their SGO and PDP and all that. It counts in their overall weight, but we don't have that, thankfully.
Yeah, good. That's good. So that's so good. That's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that there's actually some states out there that haven't, because we're testing kindergartners. So it's trickled down to insanity. These poor little babies. I have a pre-K kid that they called me in for, because I'm called all day long for some of the things are so stupid. And I'm are you serious?
Right.
I would never have called the office for that.
Right.
And, but this one person called, and she's he won't follow directions in pre-K. I'm he's 4.
Right. That's kind of what they do.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm thinking. And he just turned 4. He was 3 a couple weeks ago.
Right.
I'm he's
a baby.
He's a baby. He doesn't want to come in and sit down and do a formal lesson. He wants to play.
Right.
Which is what I think they should be doing.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. I get really upset about that. Anyway, talking all about proactive things that we can do in order to eliminate some of our behavior issues. And I really feel like this would be such a huge help for kids. So I want you, first of all, introduce yourself and tell a little bit about your experience so far.
So I teach second grade in New Jersey. This year I have 15 kids, and that's about usually how many I have. Luckily, it's a nice small number. Yeah, small, only 15. And I've just been finding that, our school starts at 8:30, and a lot of these kids are, after school sports. They're busy. They're getting rushed from here to there, to soccer, to dinner, and there's really no time for them to kind of just do their own thing. We used to have at our school a time when they had almost like a free choice, an indoor recess, where they could do some drawing or writing, but then they took that away because we needed it for more academic time, of course. So I was trying to find a way to kind of bring that back, and the soft start of the morning choice has been the way for my class.
Yeah, that's so exciting. Okay, so explain for people that don't know what that means, like what that is. Like, tell us what that is first, and then I'll ask you.
So soft
more.
start is instead of the kids coming in and doing a worksheet or some type of morning work or some type of academic task. When my kids come in, they have a couple things they need to complete, like handing in their homework or shopping for their books for the week. But then I kind of open it up to them, like, what are you feeling like doing today? They have a bunch of different options. They can color, they can draw, they can read. We have a couple academic programs on the computer. Some kids really just want to get in and be on that. They can work in their holder folder, kind of like a quiet start to the morning. And it's really their choice. And I have some options of like Legos and Play-Doh. And we kind of talked about, sharing that throughout the week and making sure everyone gets an opportunity to use those things. And so far it's actually worked pretty well.
Wow. I think that is just so exciting, because I really feel like kids that like that, it's something that I'm noticing now as in my role of student support specialist. Like, I'm noticing a lot of behavior issues in the very beginning of the day where I'm like, they just got here. How are they like already? But like, when people have them coming in, filling out planners, which I just wish I could tell people just eliminate that. Like, you can get that same information to a student by just typing it and stapling it in their planner. And then they don't have to, like, the whole visual memory thing, looking up, looking down, looking up. That's hard for some kids. It's actually hard for me as an adult. That's really tedious work for me. Like, I can't remember 2 seconds later, what was that word again? So I have to look back up. So that is something that I think about. And I think if kids came in without like this pressure or these expectations right from the start, and you still have expectations, like you have behavior expectations, and you still have the fact that they're doing something, but they have a little bit of more choice in what they're doing. I don't know, I just think it could be such a huge improvement. So have you seen that as something? I mean, have you always done this?
So last year I actually started thinking about this. Last year I'd have them come in and do some type of morning work, usually like a worksheet about whatever math we were doing or something from ELA. And it was kind of like, are they doing the worksheet to just do something, or are they doing the worksheet for me? And what am I getting from this? Or am I just having them do something to simply pass the time until we're ready to start our lessons? And
Yes.
so then I started thinking maybe I kind of need to reevaluate how I look at that. But then it really kind of hit me. I had a student last year. He kind of had issues the whole year about leaving his mom in the morning, and he'd come in late some days, and he was really upset. And we kind of always turn to, how about, you can draw a picture, you can color, whatever makes you feel better until you're ready to join us. And usually within like 2 or 3 minutes of him coloring some type of little picture, he was ready to go. And I'm thinking, maybe instead of it being such a task or something to do in the morning, if they could just kind of come in and get into their own morning. Like, personally, I get to school an hour ahead of time in the morning because I like to kind of get into my day, make sure I have all my things, the room set up. And when you think about it, they come in and it's like, all right, let's go. We've got stuff to do, busy day. And they don't really have that opportunity to kind of just like, not that they drink coffee, but like that whole kind of analogy of just like, that like gentle start, gentle build up into the day. So I've been trying it this year. I mean, we've only been in school 10 days so far, but they really seem to enjoy it. And they know if they are getting whatever, some, like on Mondays, they have to shop for books, and some days they have to turn in their library books. Once they get those things out of the way, the rest of the morning's there. So it's almost an incentive to make sure they're doing the few things I do need them to do in the morning. Because then after that, the choice is up to them.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, I totally, I love that. I think it's really has so much potential. I mean, because I look at kids that are being like dragged into school and they were crying, they don't want to come to school, and they're kindergartners and first graders and second graders. And I'm like, kids should not be kicking and screaming and coming to school. They should be so excited. And I think things like that would contribute to it, where he probably had an easier time with the separation anxiety, because we still see that in second grade. Like we still see, I was a second grade teacher for a long time. Like I know that that still exists for kids,
Hmm.
and it definitely exists for younger kids. And sometimes it even does for older kids. But if they had the opportunity to kind of ease into their day, yes, you're right. And why not think of it like we would for any other human being? Like I feel the same way. Like, and I don't get there an hour early. I need to, because when I go in and I have to jump right to my desk and grab my walkie talkie and be ready to go, oh, there's a behavior problem already in the cafeteria. I'm like, oh, I feel stressed out. I didn't even get to read email. Like I'm not
Right.
ready yet. Like I didn't get to transition into the day. And so I think kids would feel the exact same way. I think that just makes a huge difference.
Right. And I feel like that boy in particular, on the days where he did end up coming in a little late and being upset, he knew that was something he could go to. So already say that in the morning, your mom yelled at you in the car because after school, we got to go right to soccer. You need to make sure you bring
Mhm.
home your binder. Maybe, when they come in, they can kind of take that, maybe they're going to draw a picture of themselves at soccer. Maybe they want to write their mom a little note. Sorry, I forgot my soccer bag the day before or something.
Mhm.
They have some time to kind of choose, because so much of the day is driven by what I need them to do and what our
Yes.
district needs them to do. And the the opportunities for them to kind of steer what we're doing are pretty limited. So them having their own chance to kind of put a spin on their day. And some of the kids want to come in and they want to do academics. They want to get on the computer. They want to be in the reading and math program we have. And then others are
Mhm.
like, oh, I've been waiting to read this book since yesterday. Like I have time today. I don't have, anything to do. And then others have, if they're absent, that's a prime time for them to kind of catch back up. I can reintroduce to them like a couple of things we were doing.
Mhm.
It just seems to be a good way to just kind of get everybody like, all right, we're ready for the day. Let's get started.
Yeah, yes, I love that. And you're right, because I know for me, I had bell work on the desk ready to go, or they had a bell work pack, journal, and they got it out. And it was more about housekeeping. It was more about me getting to the things that I needed to do than it really was. Try to do like a spiral review for math, or, and even some things for ELA. But again, it was like I didn't care about it. Like it wasn't anything that was math. I didn't think we were going to have this big learning moment from the bell work. It really was keeping them busy and having a task that they immediately started on, so that they had things to do, like they had to sharpen their pencils and go to the bathroom. Like they had things that they were supposed to kind of like check off that they had done so that they were ready. But it was more about kind of keeping them busy so I could do the things that I needed to do. And I think that's kind of dumb. When I
Right.
say it like that, I'm like, that doesn't even make sense.
It's
And
more
I
work for
spent years
them.
doing that.
Right. It's
Yeah.
more work for them because now they have something they have to do. And like you said, when they're handing it in, I'm not looking for any type of anything amazing to be done. They're pretty much
Mhm.
reviewing a skill that, for the most part, I already know who knows it and doesn't
Yes.
need it. We
Yes.
don't really all need the same work. But then it ends up becoming more work for me, because what am I going to do? I have to look at the papers that they've handed
Yes.
in. So I need to check all that. It's more I need to copy, more papers in their folder to manage.
Yes.
Or it's actually less work for me now because the choices are the same. Some things do rotate in and out. Like I do STEM. I used to do that during math, but we switched to a new
Mhm.
math program and there's no time for that. So I'm put
Yeah.
that in as morning choice. And on your day, you have a day that if you want to do STEM, that's the day you can do it. So everyone gets a chance, but
Mhm.
that's your time. And if you never want to do the STEM project, then you don't do the STEM project. If you'd rather read every morning because that's what makes you happy, then that's what makes you happy, and you can do that.
I love that. And I know that a lot. I've been doing so much research on behavior and why kids act the way they act, because I really think that we need to get to the bottom of the whys to be able to really reshape it and change it. And I've, been reading recently about the 5 things that cause kids to have issues. And it's usually over lack of control, lack of power, lack of belonging, trying to avoid something, or attention seeking. And I'm like, okay, so you just met all of those needs. Like you gave them control over their choices. You allowed them to feel like they had some power over what was going to happen in their day. You know, if you have to take some moments to like spend a little bit of extra time with that one person that feels upset, and that's working on helping them feel like they belong to your community and your classroom, and they don't have to avoid anything that they don't like because they can pick something they love. And if they need some extra attention, you're not like bogged down by the bell work and having to go over the bell work or whatever. You're able to give them some extra attention. So you've like hit every single thing. And so when you meet their needs, then the need for like having behavior issues, they go away. It goes away. So I think this is a great idea. I'm so excited about this.
Yeah, I was kind of not sure how it was going to work out at first. I had seen another teacher from Colorado. She did it, but she has fourth graders. And I'm like, well, they're older. They're a little more responsible with the choices. And I know that they'll probably get the things done they need to get done. But I was kind of surprised how my class like knew that when they were done, like I would see them go over. I have like a little chart that says morning choice, and I'll have on there all the options, and it stays the same. I left some room at the bottom to write, something new I decide to add, and they go over there and they kind of look, and the option of getting to choose how you start your day, we like to do that for ourselves. Like some people work out in the morning, some people want to sleep until the very last minute. So I do think that it has an impact on the rest of their day. And the kids who I would assume would be behavioral later, I definitely can tell because they have some type of choice of what's going on, at least in the morning of our day, can kind of set the day, their own expectations up for their day and how they want their day to go based on how they got to start their morning in our room.
Yeah, I know, because that makes such a huge difference. It helps with that transition, and a lot of kids that have issues with transitions, that's where they break down, and you've allowed it to be a smooth transition, and that really helps kids. And those kids that, like you said, if they got into an argument or whatever with their parents on the way to school or whatever other horrific thing may have happened the night before, now they have a chance to like kind of slowly integrate themselves back into the day and have like some of those needs met without having a complete meltdown. So I think that there's just so many benefits of this. I'm really curious. I do think it's interesting though, because you and I are in a group together in Facebook, and this is how I found Alyssa. But the response of so many other teachers, did you see the rest of the responses?
Right.
It was like, oh, I have them come in and they do this, this, and this, and I have them write in their planners, and I have them write this, and I have them work on this math sheet, and it was all these things, and I'm like, oh, there was like very few people that said what you said. I think there was one other person, and you had like people were starting to like it, and I hearted it, whatever, because I'm like, oh, look at this, people, like there's something that actually could be something really truly amazing, and we're just going, oh nope, this is what I do, this is what I've always done, let me keep doing that.
Right. And it's one of those things where when I look at the rest of our schedule, we used to have a morning meeting time, part of like the responsive classroom our school does. And it used to be my morning meeting was first thing in the morning, and that's kind of how I would set the tone. Well, with our new schedule, my morning meeting now is 2:55 to 3:10 when school ends at 3:15. So I can't really sort of set the stage for the day because the day is already over. So I've been trying to find, and I thought this might be the best way to kind of still have that morning meeting sort of vibe
mentality.
Of, relaxation and kind of working into our day versus just kind of like, all right, now we're doing word study. It's 8:45. I hope everybody's ready. And it definitely has been working out. And I would almost like to think that next year, hopefully, if I have, I'm able to have morning meeting in the morning, it'll be a nice flow into morning meeting. And it can be a little more, I'm trying to work on that social and emotional well-being. That was kind of my goal last year with my principal is kind of how can I recognize that more? And I think that can definitely be a great part of just like a whole 35, minutes in the morning or more even, where we're just kind of, recognizing each other, building that classroom community, that sense of belonging, and then that sets us up for the rest of the day.
I agree. And then you've eliminated some of those things that cause kids to have a hard time. So you're actually going to get more work out of them in the long run.
Right.
Which is, I feel like everybody's so focused on that. And, I know some schools that they do their remediation or their tier intervention first thing in the morning. And I'm like, what about those poor babies that are not ready to just jump right into that right away? And I feel like you're dragging them. They're kicking and screaming basically. Maybe they're not actually physically doing that. Some of them are physically doing that, but maybe they're doing that emotionally, and they're not going to get anything. Like when their basic needs are not being met, or their sense of belonging or whatever not being met, they're not going to get anything out of what we're doing.
Right.
So it's
And
like,
it's a fine line between us being able to do everything we need to do and check all of our, teacher boxes, educator
yes.
boxes, at the same time checking off the needs of 7 and 8-year-olds. They're little kids. I mean, they might, they're in second grade and they can do all this math and they can write small moments and read all sorts of books, but at the same time they're kids, and it's part of growing up, and they're not going to be this little always. And to kind of give them, they're going to have to make so many other choices when they get older that they're not going to want to make, to at least get them started in making choices where they kind of can't really go wrong because all the options are good. I think is a good way to start them in realizing that they have control over things. They just have to, use their decision-making skills, and they can start, early.
Yeah, I love that. And I also love that you make it like you kind of incentivize, is that the word? Is that right? When you're giving them an incentive to get things done that you need to have done. Like you need them to turn in their homework or whatever. You need them to use the restroom or whatever you need to have them do right when they first come in. And then they get to go to a choice. Like you'll have so much less back and forth with that because you've given them like, this is what you do after you're done with that. So just get that done really quickly. And then here you go.
Right. And the list of things beforehand shouldn't be that long. It should be, like you said, handing in your homework. And then I tell them, the morning is the best time to go to the bathroom, but hand in your homework and then that's pretty much it. So you'll want to hand in your homework on as quickly as you can when you get in, because then you'll have more time to do whatever it is you choose to do. So it makes kids hopefully want to come to school, want to be at school on time, not want their parents to be dropping them off late, because when I get to school later, I have less time to do what I want to do, and I want to have more time. So maybe they are more willing to get up in the morning or get out the door, get to school, for the bell instead of strolling in 5 or 10 minutes late, because when they get there, they know that it's up to them what they get to do in the morning. And that's kind of, sadly, their only time to really make those types
to have those choices. Yeah.
Right. Besides like recess and lunch. I mean, I do try to give them as many choices other times as I can, but when you're trying to teach all these standards and
follow all the mandates you have to follow, it's very
everything
difficult.
we have to do, I want to make sure I can make it as much of their room as it is my room, so it's our room together. And them having choice in what they're doing in it, what's going on in our room, really helps kind of build that community and make them hopefully want to come to school every day.
No, I love that. And that's one of the problems. That's another problem that you just solved for my school. Like we have so many kids that come in late and they go to breakfast and they get free breakfast, and then they bring and like if they aren't finished by a certain amount of time, or they get to the line late because the bus was late or whatever, they have a stopping point where they have to take their tray into the classroom, and which is crazy. The teachers are like, milk is spilling and I've got syrup here from the pancakes. I mean, that would drive me crazy too. I was like, oh my goodness, I would be going crazy with that. But this would be more of an incentive to not stroll along as slowly as possible from the bus to the cafeteria. Like they would get to it. They'd go quicker. They'd want to get into their classroom, because if not, they're wasting their time, of their choice time. And if what would you say to someone that's like, well, they're just playing, which I have to say I can't stand that, because I believe that kids learn through play. So for me, like when I hear that, it's like nails on the chalkboard. But what would you say to that if someone said that to you?
I think I would say, they are children. They're meant to play. Kids learning is through play. That's how they experience the world around them. That's how they're creating those social and emotional relationships with each other and learning more about themselves. And while it is play, think of when we get to do something we like to do. That's our version of play, even though we might not be breaking out dolls and Legos. Us watching Netflix, that's something we like to do. And that's a choice of something we're choosing to do. Hopefully nobody's forcing us to do those things.
Yes.
But I think that, they need an opportunity to kind of debrief and decompress. And even if it's first thing in the morning, when they're choosing to, when that's available for us to kind of let them do their thing, that's how they're going to learn best. And if I can make sure that my kids feel, safe and welcomed and accepted and that I want them to be there, then I'll be able to do all the things I need to do in our day. So I think while it might look like play, it's not really play. It's learning through play.
It's learning. Well, and it's rapport building. You're building, and it's community building. Like you're doing all those things that ensure that you don't have behaviors in your classroom so that you're not interrupted. So you can actually teach more instead of dealing with behaviors, which a lot of people are interrupted. That's a huge cost to teachers, is that constant interruption with behaviors. And it doesn't have to be when you've got things like this in place. And then you have like the afternoon meeting, and which is another great opportunity for kids to discuss their feelings and to talk as like, this is our family. This is where we take care of each other. Like, tell me a little bit about what that looks like.
So I've been, in the past, I've been working a lot on character education, and our school is a national school of character. And so we do a lot of whole school book readings. So we have character pillars, usually like for a month and a half. And our own right now is respect. And then we usually read a whole school book. The whole school reads a book. And then we have a character ed journal that we do a response in. The kids have like different question options they can pick from. And the journal follows them to, my school ends at 4th grade, and then they go to the middle school.
Oh, wow.
So I have been kind of building that into my morning meeting, more character ed work. So this year we're doing a book study every week during morning meeting. We're actually starting our first one this week because we haven't had a full week of school yet. And we're going to be picking a book or a topic for the week and studying that book throughout the week. So I think we're going to be reading it on Monday, and then we're going to be doing a couple different activities and kind of learning through the books. And I really like being able to use my morning meeting time to read books that sort of embody something I want to teach, or maybe point out something specific without being like, you need to stop doing this. It's kind of like, well, what if we did, oh, my dog's barking, what if we all did, this? So one of the books we read last week was called Interrupting Chicken. And it's this book about this chicken, and he's going to bed, and every time his dad goes to tell him the end of the story, he just like blurts out the rest of the story. His dad's like, chicken? He's like, you said you didn't interrupt. And he's like, I know, but I just can't believe that the big bad wolf, blah, blah, blah. And my kids are like dying hysterically. I think it's so funny. I'm talking super fast when I'm the chicken. And I'm like, well, how do you think I would feel if I'm trying to read you a story and one of you just starts shouting out the answer? And they're like, well, that would be horrible. Like, well, how do you think you would feel if you were talking and I just decided it was my turn to talk? And they were like, well, not good. Then we can have a conversation based around the book. And then I leave the books out, and then they're reading them and they're exposed to them. And I think that the whole character ed combination with the more choices and more freedom of their own day can kind of make more of a person out of, the children. Like I tell them at back to school night, if I teach your kids something this year, great, but I'm hoping to make wonderful people this year.
Yes.
So
I love that.
If I can, create help, like if your kid doesn't learn math, they'll learn it in 3rd grade, but I want your kid to be able to be a responsible, respectful person. Can they talk to other people? Can they have empathy for other people? Can they build relationships without us kind of having to force it on them? And I think that the whole using the character ed tools to help them see things through a book is so much easier than being like, today we're going to be, we're going to be responsible. What does that look like? When we can read a book, they can connect to that so much more than just having a conversation.
I totally 100% agree with you. I love that. I love everything that you were saying. Like it's the first time in a very, very long time that that it makes me want to be in the classroom. Like not just supporting students with whatever. It's seriously, that's been a really long time since I felt that way. Like that this conversation has been really motivating to me. I love to hear that people feel that way, and that there's teachers out there like you that feel so strongly about like creating these wonderful people. And it doesn't all have to be about this testing and all this other nonsense. you just have given me like some hope. And like, so thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for coming and talking about this. I think this is a really good answer to some of the things that people are
hopefully
having
more
a problem
people
with.
will, see that this is something you can do. And I really think any grade, as long as you have expectations and it's a mutual understanding between you and your class of what this is going to look like and what the plans are for.
Yes. And I'm sure you went over it. I'm sure you like taught, I mean, because it sounds like it's a procedure. Like you have to put this procedure in place so that kids can make it a routine. And so they know what to do when they come in. They know how to make these choices. So just like anything else, we have to show them, we have to model it. We have to, explicitly teach it so that they understand.
Right. And like any type of procedures, I'm really big in making sure there's a procedure. I don't want to say like, I don't even want to call it rules, but kind of expectations, like this is what it's going to look like, procedures, and I try to keep them simple but consistent.
Yes.
So as much as I can, I want to make their lives, as easy as I can without doing things for them, but I'm not going to have an 80-step procedure. I'm going to try to make it sweet,
concise.
To the point.
Yes.
They're also 7 and 8. There's only so much, they can remember and do. So as long as I think as you are keeping it consistent, you have clear expectations, that you have buy-in from them, as we get further in the year, I might say, okay, what do you think some new things should be added to morning choice? Is there anything that it's like, it'd be cool if we could do this. Okay, well, let's talk about it. How could we, get to use slime at, morning choice? What would that look like? How could we as a class decide, where we're going to keep it, how we're going to take care of it, X, Y, and Z. The even more buy-in now, because they're getting to decide some of the choices, or what is working well or not working well for our class.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm glad I could come on.
And thank you. Wasn't that incredible? I just absolutely had the best time talking to Alyssa, and I hope that you enjoyed it as well. So if you are feeling it, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode and like creating a soft start to the day and allowing your kids to have some choices first thing upon arrival. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and drop me a message in the comments, or, review the show. That would be great as well. Or you can email me at tdebery at trinadeberyteachingandlearning.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Trina Debery Teaching and Learning, and you can just message me. I'd love to hear from you. So this one tired teacher is feeling pretty rejuvenated right about now. So until next time, sweet dreams and sleep tight.